What'd you have for breakfast?
Jeez, huh? Policeman wouldn't ask me that. What did I have for breakfast? I had porridge. I used to have overnight oats every single morning, and I've switched to hot porridge. Bit of cinnamon, fruit, grapes, strawberries, blueberries.
Why the switch?
Um,
Is it menopause?
I felt like the overnight oats were not sitting right when I went for runs and stuff.
Right.
I was having like gut issues, and I don't know if it was the oats or may have been my electrolytes.
Is this the porridge is still oats, right? Yeah.
It is, but when you soak them overnight, it releases more starch, apparently, according to Mr. GPT.
Yeah.
So I think it's harder to digest when they're soaked versus just cooking them.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, a bit of protein, milk, oats, fruit, bit of jam, or raspberry conserve, as you say over
To
here.
be fair,
What, is that what we say over here?
Conserve, yeah.
no, the concept is absolutely unreal. That one with that
Bon
one,
Madame.
you got me on that. Honestly,
So good.
why is it
It's a little
$7?
bit more expensive,
Yeah,
but
honestly, every time I go in there, $7 for jam is outrageous.
It's worth
However, it is unbelievable. Every time I get it, I'm like, yeah, this is why it's $7. It's so good.
Yeah.
When it's on sale, I'm loading up.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of things that I've fallen into that are like, why am I paying this much for it? Well, sticking with it.
Chuck it in anyway. It'll be
Well,
fine.
when I have tried the cheaper, I'm all about bang for buck. I've tried the cheaper alternatives, and even the like consistency of it's just not good. So I'll happily pay for a premium product if it's worth it.
Yeah, like everyone's got their kind of, fantasies, and yours is just
A good jam.
concept. Yeah. How much do you think nutrition actually plays into your training? Because I feel like a lot of people fix their training first, and then their nutrition is just whatever they actually fancy. Like they don't really give it too much thought. But I know you're pretty specific and you're pretty regimented. So I want to know what are you eating like in a day, and how does that impact how you actually feel for your race? And
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot to unpack. The answer would be based on where someone is in their journey. I would say it's probably better getting into a more healthy fitness regime than being super dialed in on nutrition, because I just think there's so many more benefits mentally, physically. You're going to just feel better in yourself. I think the nutrition is kind of like the last kind of percentage when you're trying. It depends on what kind of levels that you're trying to push to. Like the levels that I'm trying to push to and who I'm competing against, you just would not get away with having a poor nutrition program or plan. I've actually just for the first time in my life reached out to a nutritionist recently. So I've got him on board for the next 3 months minimum, but I'm going to keep him on up until Worlds. And that's just a case of I've never worked with one before, so I've kind of just been winging it, and it's been working relatively okay. But I feel like I'm at a point now where I almost don't know what I don't know. And if there's any other things that I could be doing or shifting macro, I feel like timing is a big thing that I need to learn about in terms of when best to time meals, because I'm very much regimented on like breakfast is usually at the same time. I probably under fuel for my morning sessions, and then I'm starting to be a little bit more focused in terms of hitting carbs and protein straight after a session, instead of like sometimes that could be 2 hours post session that I'd be actually eating. And the more research I do on that, it's so bad. Like you're losing gains pretty much straight away. So he's going to help me out. I'm going to stick with him and just learn, really just soak it all in, and I can use that information for the rest of my athletic career. I think it's like no money that you spend in relation to fitness, nutrition, health is ever going to be a waste, in my view anyway. So yeah, back to your question. It depends on how serious you want to take it. I think fixing your kind of getting into a better structure physically in terms of going to the gym, getting a better training regime going, I think that's primary, and then secondary to just get the most out of what physical activity you're doing and to feel even better, putting a good nutrition plan on top of that would be my recommendation.
Makes sense. I mean, you say about like structure as well. I know you're quite down the line in terms of your training volume is going to be way higher than someone who's just getting into it. But what's your kind of weekly structure look like at the minute? I mean, so Brisbane's next for you, which is 3 months away. So I guess you're not in kind of absolute peak training volume, but like, what does it look like at the minute?
So I'm very much based on, I like write my own kind of programs specifically for running. I train in a class-based gym in Unit, Sydney. And I do a lot of my kind of strength stuff there. Some conditioning based stuff and Hyrox workouts as well. But my running training, I program myself. So typically Monday morning, my split would be strength training in the morning, 6:30 a.m. And then I do an easy run Monday evening. Tuesday morning, I do a conditioning session in Unit. Tuesday evening after work, I would hit the track, do some thresholds. Wednesday morning, strength train. Wednesday evening, I would typically check in with myself, see how my body is. As of recently ditched the slow run on a Wednesday, just to give myself a little bit more time to recover for Thursday, because I hit the track again Thursday evening and I do a hard enough longer endurance conditioning session Thursday morning. So I found that I can hold better numbers and paces in my Thursday evening track session if I ditch the Wednesday evening run. So that'll typically, it would depend on the week, how I'm feeling, how my body is. Friday morning then is strength training. Friday evening is typically an easy run. Then Saturday is a Hyrox session, either in Unit or we do a group session in the yard as well. So either or, that would be my kind of weekly Hyrox sim work. I don't do a huge amount of Hyrox specific efforts. And then Sunday I'd typically make up my Ks for the week. So last year I was following JK's running program and I was hitting between 70 to 80 Ks a week. I just found that volume just too much for me. Like I was going into sessions and I was just never able to hit any session at 100% because I was just doing so much running volume. So even strength, like my mobility, my the way I was able to, like my squat depth was all impacted because I was just running so much. So I found my sweet spot is around 50 Ks a week. So I'm going to try and maintain 50 Ks. I'm going to do more of a majority of that being at threshold. And then I'm going to replace a lot of the zone 2 aerobic work on ergs. So I'm not going to do less, but I'm going to do less running specifically, but I'm going to do more aerobic work, just replacing that with erg work. It's just less impactful and it benefits longevity.
That makes sense, because I think a lot of people think the only way to get better at running is running. But I think I've seen a lot of people actually doing a lot more like swimming and cycling because, as you said, it's just a lot less.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you're at again. If you're only starting, the only way to get better at running is running. And you need to get turnover in your legs and you need to be hitting specifically threshold paces and you need to be working on your aerobic base. And to some degree, the benefit of running in that, if you're only starting running, is that you're getting used to the fibers that you're trying to grow within your running economy. So again, it depends on where you're at. I see a lot of the elites are, it differs. Some of them, like Sean Noble, for example, runs over 100k a week. Someone like Josh Van Zeeland or Charlie Botterill run a lot less and they do a lot more aerobic work on Stairmaster, bike, ski, road, that kind of thing. So there's multiple ways to skin a cat, it seems, in the game. And because it's so new, there's no kind of one way fits all. But for a more beginner level, I'd say that you would need to focus on increasing your running mileage rather than trying to replace the mileage with erg work from the very get-go.
It's interesting that you do so little Hyrox specific stuff, like one session a week. And I know, like, obviously the conditioning session will have some in there, but how often are you hitting like the sleds and the wall balls and the stuff that you probably wouldn't do in a normal conditioning session?
Yeah, so like typically that's kind of dabbled in throughout the week. It's just not set up like a body of work, like a station run, station run, station run.
Yeah, yeah.
Sleds I'd probably hit once a week. Ergs I'd be on maybe 3 to 4 times a week. But yeah, like purely Hyrox, probably only once a week for now. When it gets closer to racing, I ramp that up and do 2 to 3. And that's just to work on efficiency rather than trying to master the movements. I feel like I've mastered like the technique of each of the stations, and it doesn't take too long to master. Like some of the movements are more complex than others. Sled pull is probably the most complex in terms of nailing your technique and efficiency on that station. And then wall balls is probably, people struggle with depth. If you're struggling with depth, you can't really do a rep. So it's all about mobility and working on your hips, working on your depth. And then it's about hitting the target. So I guess there's a little bit of complexity there. But for the most part, the movements are very, very simple. And that's why it's blown up, because anybody can jump in and do it. And you see 80, 85-year-olds completing the race, no problem. Well, not no problem, but at their own pace.
Yeah. I got mates that have like never trained before and they've gotten into it just because it's also such a social group thing.
Yeah.
So you rock up, you do the things, probably similar to what got CrossFit so popular, because you rock up, you do the set out session, and then that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You're doing a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess like the whole like CrossFit versus Hyrox thing, I think like it's been blown up so much, but like from my perspective, where Hyrox wins and why it's gotten the growth and trajectory that it's got is like how simple it is. Like you don't have to master like the barbell, like weightlifting, gymnastics, like swinging out of bars, swinging out of rings. Like the barrier to entry to CrossFit is a lot higher than Hyrox. But yeah, I dabbled in a bit of CrossFit before I came here and before I even knew what Hyrox was.
How did you find it?
It was tough. I used to always love the sessions that had no complex moves in it.
Yeah.
And just had like ergs and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I can do this.
I've only ever tagged onto a handful of them, but because I don't train in that style, I'm just so dead afterwards.
Yeah.
I was like, nobody look at me for like 20 minutes.
Especially with the kipping pull-ups.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like I know how strong they are and everything else, but I just can't get over the kipping pull-up technique. Like I know, you know, Hyrox is hybrid rock star, you know, I get all of that, but kipping pull-ups, I'm sorry. In terms of like, in terms of lost aura, I'd rather be a hybrid rock star than I would be seen to do kipping pull-ups. I'm sorry.
Like even that hybrid rock star is bollocks. Like it's been debunked.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not short for hybrid rock star. Like Hyrox is not, it didn't originate from hybrid rock star. It's all just a myth.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's all just to drag the name through the mud.
It's all the CrossFitters who are slapping it, typing it in.
Yeah, so I was listening to the owner on a podcast. I don't know if you know him, Mo. So he's one of the co-founders, and he was saying that they just haven't come out and said anything because it gets so much social media traction and attention and engagement. So
any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. So like a load of people say it to me as well, and I'm just like, whatever.
Hilarious.
You do it.
You know, I found interesting though, just to go back to what you were saying before with your weekly routine, because a lot of people, they just think, oh, to do these races, you just need to be going hard all the time. You mentioned checking in. You've literally got a scheduled day where you do a check-in with your body. Does that mean you then change your routine for the rest of the week, or what are you doing there with your check-in?
Yeah, so like recovery, you can have some metric to it. Like I wear a Whoop, for example, and it gives me like sleep stats, how well I slept, recovery score, my HRV, resting heart rate on a given day. And that takes everything into account, your previous load that you went through, previous training. So they call that strain. So when your strain is super, super high in a day, it impacts your recovery the next day because your body can only recover from a certain amount of strain on a given day. So if my recovery is super low, or I'm just feeling battered, I won't chase more fitness, because at that point you're trying to chase the adaptations from your work yesterday. So there's no point in burying yourself into a further recovery hole, because you're just prolonging the process and you're actually not getting fitter. So that's been like a key mindset switch for me, because at the start, when I was so invested in this, and I was like, anytime I stopped or took a break or took a rest day, I'd go onto Instagram and someone would be working out, and then I'd just immediately feel like a dick.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, oh, I need to do something. But I'm confident in the amount of volume that I do is correct for me, and that just doesn't impact me anymore. But I feel like you need to learn and work through those elements of it.
You can't just start doing what you do immediately. Like,
Yeah.
you built up to that over a long time. The fact
Yeah.
that you're doing double sessions, what is it, like 4 or 5 days a week?
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I think if any beginner just went in and did that, that's how they get injured and end up kind of stopping immediately. But you know, you've got to that point where it's like the body can handle it. And
Yeah, like, and typically, like, my Monday, Wednesday, Friday I'd consider them easy days. So it would be strength training. Now, strength training, I'd be pushing pretty hard, but I'm not burying myself. Tuesday, Thursday are hard because you're doing almost double threshold with those conditioning sessions, Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, and then your track sessions Tuesday evening, Thursday evening. And then it would be a very hard effort at the weekend doing a Hyrox session, either in the gym or with some of the group that we have that train in the yard. So like, the purpose of that session is just to try and create this group and camaraderie and community where we're just pushing each other and we're on like similar trajectory, similar level, which you can't necessarily get from just your standard gym. There's kind of more of a mix of levels. But yeah, it's so important. Like, the goal is to fit as much volume in as possible without getting injured. That's ultimately what everybody is trying to crack. And it's like, your body can only handle a certain amount of load. You can't see something on Instagram and just train like that person or train that program just because that person is doing well, because it's not individual to you and how you respond to different training sessions.
Yeah, and I think that is also what people are going to find with what volume of running works for you, what volume of strength training works for you, because it's going to be different for everyone. You can't just try and copy someone else's blueprint.
100%. And with that, you're better off starting conservatively and building up rather than going for too much and then having to peel back, because the risk with going for too much is that you pick up a niggle, pick up an injury, and then that's pushing you out 2 or 3 months. But it depends what the niggle is. But
what does your recovery look like? How much are you a believer in sauna, ice bath, everything else?
So I'm a member of extra clubs. I got in at one of the founding membership prices, so it only cost me like $19.99 a week, and to do a one-off session for someone just randomly going, it's like $39. So I have a really good deal with them. I probably hit it once a week. I try and avoid, like, there's a lot of research in that ice baths, they don't, like, they kind of negate your adaptations to strength training specifically. So I typically go after like conditioning sessions or running. But the sauna is very well researched and science backed, that even for the longevity of your life, regardless of just training, there's so many benefits to it. So typically I go once a week and I do 3 sets of 10 minutes sauna, 3-minute ice bath, and just rotate. And then, yeah, I feel like this is another trap that people just fall into. Like, they're like, oh, we'll go to a recovery room and then we're sweet. But it's like, that's like literally like the cherry on top of your recovery routine. It's like, these people are hitting ice baths and saunas 3 times a week, but they're drinking maybe 1 liter of water a day, or they're getting like 4 hours sleep a day, or maybe they're getting up early and going to a recovery place. It's like, it's actually way more beneficial for you to actually sleep in that extra hour than hit a sauna and an ice bath after breaking your sleep and getting up an hour less. So like, it's kind of like if you have all the other simple basics in check, there's benefits to doing that. But yeah, I avoid ice baths around strength days.
So really, we're talking sleep and hydration, and then part of it's going to be nutrition, big part of it. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
But like it's such boring stuff that's not what you want to talk about, right? You want to be like, no, I did 5 minutes at 5 degrees ice bath.
Same as
Now I'm recovered.
exactly. Same
Yeah.
as supplements as well. Everyone goes to like that first, I find. And as much as
Oh yeah. I've never been like, I've obviously had supplements, but I've never been one of those, I need to have this, and this, and this, otherwise I'm no good. Just eat better food.
Yep.
And then if you need more protein, then have a protein shake.
Yep.
And then maybe do your creatine because that's really good.
Yeah.
protein,
like-
creatine, and I feel like electrolytes as well, especially out here.
Yeah, electrolytes.
Yeah.
Find
You're
way
losing a lot of sweat. Yeah.
Yeah, way more so than probably like back home. It's like so much hotter out here, especially on the runs when you're doing runs in like 30-degree heat. So I found I didn't realize how much salt I was losing.
Yep.
And it was only when I started taking like some stronger electrolytes that I wouldn't get headaches after like my long runs. And I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, wish I'd known this beforehand. But I was like, I'd always like, I'd go do a long run, get home, and I start to have a headache. And it was only when I started taking like electrolytes with sometimes anywhere between like 500 and 1,000 milligrams of sodium.
Yep.
I was like, oh wow. I was like, I
Yeah.
feel all right now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, interesting.
How did you cope on Saturday? Were you outside at all? 43 degrees?
I was actually on Milk Beach. Was it Milk
really?
Beach?
Beautiful, yeah.
No, we went to Camp Cove.
Oh, yeah.
I literally got there at maybe 12 and left at 6. Just lay on the beach for the whole
6
day.
o'clock when it was still 40 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
it was a long day. But we didn't get burnt. It factor 50 topped up every
Oh,
like 20
wow.
minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
You're going to have to reapply a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, I went for a walk and I got like pink on my arms.
Yeah.
Like, how did you do that? Yeah, factor
Insane.
50.
No.
Necessary.
It is so hot.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
Especially like, running at the minute, training in that heat. It's so important. I feel like water and electrolytes. But yeah, you're right. Same with like track sessions. I've been out there like seeing you running and I'm like, Christ, it is warm in the track.
Yeah. I read a bit, saw this post recently and it talked about like a triangle of where your efforts should be. So it's like one is like your physical dose, which is like your speed of runs, or if you're weightlifting, it's the weight on the bar. 2 is like the conditions, so the external environment, how hot it is, what the humidity is, for example. And then 3rd is your RPE. So having all of them in check for your sessions means that you're going to hit the exact stimulus that you want. So if you think about it, if you run on a track, so say my routine, I've run on a track on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Let's say I hit a track session and I do 10 by 3 minutes at threshold, 36 seconds off. Let's say it's like 21 degrees, perfect temperature, no wind. Let's say Thursday and I hit whatever pace. Thursday I go and it's 35 degrees. That's a very, very different session. And it's at times like that where you just need to let go of your ego so that you can achieve the correct stimulus. No, you're not going to hit the same pace. It's literally impossible to hit the same pace as what you just did on Tuesday. That doesn't mean that you're not getting fitter or that you're losing fitness. The conditions are different, which is going to impact your RPE. So once you have that, like all those 3 in check, it means that you're going to hit the stimulus you want and have a successful session. If you try and hang on to the paces that you just hit on Tuesday, you're 100% guaranteed to leave that session disappointed. And that's another trap that people get into, and it's like, oh, my threshold has to be quicker than it was 2 days ago. It's like your threshold pace mightn't actually change for 3-4 months.
Wow, okay.
So
how are you working out your threshold?
So I actually went and got the proper lactate threshold test done, where they took blood from me and test the lactate levels. That's the gold standard test. The like free version of, after you buy your runners and stuff, the free version of like figuring out roughly what your threshold pace is a 60-minute time trial.
6T.
60, yeah. So a lot of it before.
No thanks.
Yeah. I think you said like 16. I was like, oh, 16's like, like that's not so bad. 60, I'm like,
I don't even want to know.
yeah.
No, 16 would be like VO2 max.
Yeah, exactly.
60. Wow. Okay, right. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it used to be the test used to be 10k. Well, when I was on JK's running program, it was a 10k time trial, but it's since been adjusted to a 60-minute time trial, and that's roughly where you'd sit for your threshold. But again, joys of social media, joys of Instagram. I see it every single day. I log in, people running way above what their threshold pace is. You look at their pace on the track, you look at their pace in a Hyrox race, and it's like some people's is 20, 30 seconds slower. And you're like, are you training at threshold?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Interesting. How much do you do on heart rate? Because you run track with a heart rate monitor as well.
Yeah.
Do you do anything in terms of, because obviously you want your threshold pace to improve and get better. So how, as you've said, the way you monitor like outside conditions, like your physical readiness and RPE, how are you judging RPE, and how are you using your heart rate? Are you using it like mid-session? Do you ever adjust things mid-session?
Yeah, so I don't do anything not off heart rate. So all of my training is based on heart rate data, and I never ever just rely on my wrist strap. So every time I train, apart from strength training, I don't wear a chest strap for strength training because it's less relevant. But all of my, like, I'll be constantly checking where my heart rate is at for a threshold session. I'll be constantly looking at it like, I'm kind of at the point now where like I can feel what my threshold is now, but like, say my track session that I'm just after coming from there, because I haven't really been hammering them that much because I took quite a big break after Melbourne, just to kind of sit, digest everything, have a bit of a mental break, refresh, have a little holiday with my girlfriend and two of my friends. Like the kind of feel and the muscle memory isn't quite there because I'm kind of just getting back into it. So I'd be looking at my watch a lot more in that session than I will in, say, 4 weeks time when I'm super dialed in. Again, as you say though, the conditions make it a little bit different. So RP is subjective. Like, it's how you feel you're feeling in a given session. So RP per threshold should be about a 7 out of 10. So yeah, I just, like, for my zone 2 efforts, again, because of my lactate threshold test, I know exactly where I'm sitting in my zone 2. People are kind of still guessing what their zone 2 is because they haven't gotten like that 60-minute time trial. There's no real test for zone 2. Like, there's that rule of your age minus whatever, 25 or something. I forget what the maths is. But I'd recommend getting that done. It is pretty expensive. If you have health insurance, it covers most of it.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, I think mine covered like half of it. But it was still like, it was about $400. So it was 200 after health insurance covered 200. But it was worth it because I left it with the confidence of knowing that I'm training at the correct zones.
Yeah. And where does your heart rate sit for that usually? Like at threshold pace? So
about 178 would be my threshold heart rate. So that's where I try and keep it. In conditions like today, it would drift to like a 180 max. But then it would take me a while to build up to my threshold heart rate. So I'm kind of, the more I train, I'm kind of like, well, that's actually a waste of time. So if I'm doing, so today I did 5 sets of 6 minutes. If it's taken me, say, 1 minute to get to my threshold heart rate, that's essentially a minute lost of your threshold training. So I'm starting to think now that maybe I should start the clock when my heart rate gets to threshold and then do 6 minutes. Like, it's going to be harder, but if you want the proper adaptations and the proper benefits to doing a 6 minute in at threshold, You may as well. I think Sean Noble does that as well. He only starts his clock when he hits his threshold heart rate. So he'll actually start his run and nearly sprint, get to his threshold, and then slow down.
Interesting.
So there's different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And when you're doing a race, do you have monitors in the race? Like heart rate monitor? Or
So
that's not a thing. That's not allowed. Or
no, it is allowed. Yeah.
okay, so you can be checking.
Yeah. So I wore my chest strap for Singapore Pro Solo in November. It's the first time I've ever worn one. And halfway through the race, I had to throw it to my girlfriend because the thing was just sliding down because I was so wet. So like I spent so much energy. I know it's only something small, but I spent so much energy even mentally thinking about like pulling it up, and even physically to a point of pulling it up and reaching around to my back and pulling it up. So I'll never ever wear one again. But in a race, like there's kind of a race is very different to how you train. Like you're going to be at maximal effort for some points during the race. You don't want to get to that stage too soon. Like something like wall balls, you're maxing out. Like you're hitting nearly your max heart rate. I think I hit like a 190, 192 in one of my races in Melbourne. So yeah, it's like I know a lot of people that don't, like some of the elites don't have anything to track and they don't have anything on their wrists to even look at.
So you make sure you're dialed in, right? You kind of know where you need to be sitting to be able to maintain.
Yeah.
I think you know what your Hyrox pace actually looks like as well. I feel like because you've done it so many times, you know what a kind of 350 pace versus a 330 pace is going to be like because you've run both of them so often.
Yeah, so you do it based off feel. Like in my Melbourne races, for example, I just looked at the rolling clock to see what time we were on for. But I didn't really give a shit about my heart rate. Especially in doubles, it's like you're running sub threshold, like faster than your threshold pace, but because you can recover. So you get a rest when other people are working, when your partner is working on the station, you get a rest. So you can afford to kind of get into that like red line zone and zone 5 and near your kind of maximal effort because your heart rate is coming down.
How hard do you actually think you should go for a lot of the training sessions? Like how many are you going, RP 7 and above, and how many are you kind of going just cruising like 6 and below where you're taking it a little bit easier?
My Hyrox sim work at the weekend is like threshold or maybe faster, and then my Tuesday, Thursday track sessions are threshold. Everything else, to be honest, Tuesday morning conditioning, Thursday morning conditioning are kind of erg, but also like dumbbell movements and stuff and burpees, and there could be some wall balls, there could be sleds, and that's like all around kind of race pace. But the vast majority, Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday typically are all easy days, easy efforts, zone 2 max. Like I did 2-hour session there with Ash, my mixed doubles partner, yesterday. Sat on the bike for an hour, sat on the ski for 30 minutes, rode 30 minutes. The bike, I literally could not get into zone 2 because I was fatigued from the day before. And like I was holding like maybe a 205 pace per 1,000 meter on the bike. I was like, I can't go any faster, and my heart rate was sitting at like a 130. So it's still an aerobic session. It's zone, like the vast majority of that session I would have sat at zone 1, and then the ski is quite easy to get into zone 2. It's just more of a taxing bit of work. So I ended up being like an hour and a half in zone 1, half an hour in zone 2. But yeah, I'd say the vast majority of my week is easy.
That's interesting, especially on the bike as well. I don't know why, but I can never get my heart rate that high on the bike unless I'm like all out sprinting. If I'm just sat on a bike, I'll be absolutely going for it. And I'm like, I cannot go any quicker. I feel like my legs are going to burn out. I check my heart rate, it's like 130.
Yeah,
every time.
But your quads are burning.
Yeah. Why?
No, I'm probably the same, but I just never check my heart rate.
Same with swimming. I see people all the time. I don't get how people like swim like long distances. Like, I can swim one length real quick, and then that's it. I may as well get out the pool. Yeah. Like, when I see people like who are swimming like 130 or 150 per like 100 meter, and I'm like, but they'll do it for like 3K, and I'm like, I can do that for like 100 meters, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at swimming. I
It's
think
a
I need to do
different
more of
ballgame.
it.
Yeah.
The last time I went in was at Gunyama in Green Square. It was so bad because I got cramp in my calf, but I was halfway along the pool and I was tired, and I was like, I can't go anywhere, and I was like, the calf pain was so bad, so I sunk to the bottom of the pool to try and put weight on the bottom of the pool, and I was pushing and I was trying to like squeeze it on the bottom to get rid of the calf pain. I must have looked like an idiot. I'm like trying to drown myself to try and get rid of the calf pain. It was so bad.
So it's still hard for you to push out. I was thinking maybe you have buoyancy issues. Maybe you got some David Goggins genes and you just sink, but no.
It was awful. It was just how I was like blew all the air out, and then I'm pushing against the bottom of the pool while I'm like, I can't really breathe, trying to get rid of this cramp. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I was like, this is so dumb. Swimming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just wanted to go for a
No
leisurely.
triathlons for you.
No, I don't understand
Or
how people
Ironmans.
like. You know how you have like walking, jogging, and then like sprinting. Like for me, swimming is just the sprinting. I don't know how to, I don't know how to do the slow swim, the meander. Mine is just I'm getting to the end as fast as possible. And that's it. Just don't. Do you swim much?
No, I actually don't swim at all. We went to.
Can you swim?
I can swim. I've actually never gotten any lessons. So if I was gonna dabble in an Ironman or triathlon or something, I'd definitely get lessons just to be more efficient and learn how to breathe properly.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't freestyle. I'll happily do laps all day just doing like breaststroke.
Yeah.
Even just the like dip your head under.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But freestyle, no.
Yeah.
I can't work it out.
Really?
Like 1, 2, 3. I don't know. I've swallowed water. I'm done.
Yeah.
When I do it, I like go way too high. You know how you meant to like slightly edge up and like breathe through the corner of your mouth? I'm there. I may as well be rolling over.
Yeah.
I'm like upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
But like similar to what you're saying, I did one length and I was fucked. It's just a different conditioning.
So different. How you can be so fit, yet when it comes to something else, you're like, nope, absolutely not.
Yeah, with the going back to the bike and struggling to get into zone 2, I did a bit of and I see more and more of it, the Stairmaster. Do you ever use that?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Stairmaster.
So that's a very decent tool for getting into zone 2, and it's not that taxing.
Interesting.
So you won't struggle getting into zone 2 with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing a bit of that.
Stairmaster I quite like incline walking as well. I like pacing just on my incline walking, just whack the incline as high as possible.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it might help my calves to grow because nothing else works. So I'm like, maybe if I stick at it. But what annoys me is, again, with the Stairmaster, like I'll get on it and I'm there like pouring with sweat. And so I look over and there's some girl who's just like doing it twice as fast as me, just like cruising. Do you know what I mean? Like reading some smutty book, and I'm there like struggling to stay alive.
Yeah, she's been doing it for years to try and grow a booty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just honestly like appreciate that it is hard. It is tough to climb stairs.
Yeah.
I see people doing it. I'm like, oh, surely it's honestly go do it.
Yeah. I did it for an hour, but I had someone beside me. Ethan was there. Yeah. But we just chatted for an hour, so it passed the time very very well. I actually only looked at the time once, and it was at 56 minutes. I was like, "Oh, we're
decent.
done."
How do you find training on tired legs? Because that's a big thing with Hyrox, is that you're running, but you're also doing stations. And unless you've kind of practiced going from sled push and lunges into another kilometer run, like how do you get used to that?
I think it's just volume and repetition of it. So that work I'd usually do at the weekend with my Hyrox, same work. But also like the way I train, like I'm fatigued in all of my threshold sessions. So my threshold sessions are in the evening, Tuesday evening, Thursday evening are my track sessions. And I would have done a hard conditioning session, which would have had a lot of impact to my legs and would have had like goblet squats and just leg fatiguing exercises in it. So by the time Tuesday evening comes around, Thursday evening, I'm not fresh. So it's just getting volume and hours under your belt, doing same type of work to work on. There's this big thing about compromised running. I'd be more of a believer in focusing on running as a single discipline and improving your running, improving your threshold paces. But there is benefits to learning that skill of the mechanics of running under fatigue, especially after like the likes of sled push and stuff. But yeah, just volume, hours, same as everything.
Yeah, because sled push is so early, whereas it's like after lunges, you're gonna feel rough anyway. It doesn't matter. And then wall balls, it doesn't matter because it's like last. But no, it's interesting to know that it does suck even when you're at your level. It just how often are you actually fresh? Like going into a session that you're like, yeah, I'm ready to go.
In my tip, it's a bit different now because I'm off work. I'm in between jobs, so I have 2 weeks off, and I've just realized and noticed like the difference between like being a full-time athlete and like I'm living these 2 weeks like a full-time athlete, and I just have so much more time to focus on nutrition and recovery and get better sleeps, longer sleeps, and it pays so many dividends in terms of how I feel the next day. So
how so? Like when you say feel better, what does that
like more recovered, better recovered, so ready to hit a session, whether that's a long run, whether that's my threshold sessions, whether that's lifting in the gym. I'm doing a lot more open gym sessions, which are during the day, so I can't do that when I have a job because it's like 9 to 12 or 2 to 5, which are, as you know, peak working hours.
Yeah.
Especially in corporate, so you can't just. And you think about an hour session, but it's not an hour session because it's a 15-minute walk to the gym, 15-minute home, an hour there, and then like I work in a client-facing role, so I'm gonna have to shower and look presentable for meetings. So it's like nearly 2.5 hours, and then you have to fuel after. So it's just it's impossible to fit it in. So I've been doing more aerobic work and spending a longer amount of time on ergs because I can't do that with my job. So I'm trying to make up a bit of a gap over the next 2 weeks. I think that's the key difference. It's the amount of time that you can dedicate to fueling properly. Your nutrition can be timed a lot better around your sessions, pre and post session. And then just sleep. Like getting your 8-9 hours sleep. When you're working a full-time job, it's pretty hard to get your 8 or 9 hours sleep. I find it hard anyway.
Have you got specific routines that you have around sleep?
So myself and my girlfriend are pretty good in terms of going to bed at the same time and having a similar routine with getting into bed and going to sleep. I think once you have that down, that's kind of half the battle. It'd be a lot harder if your partner was like, or whoever you're sharing a bed with has a completely different routine. I try and not be on my phone before bed. When I go into the bedroom, I try and just put my phone on charge, sort out my alarms, and then put it down, go to sleep. Being on my phone, and this is the good thing about the Whoop as well, because I have a journal that I fill in every morning, and one of the questions I have to myself is, did you spend any time on your phone in bed? And I've noticed when I look at my like monthly look back or whatever, it has like a really negative impact on my sleep, being on my phone, because it's just giving you constant dopamine hits. And like my TikTok, for example, is full of videos that I just find so funny. So like if you think about how elevated you are, and then you put your phone down, and then you're like, oh, it's bedtime, like that's not sending your body signals that you're winding down and going to sleep. So that's one thing I cut out. I've actually tried to stop drinking water so close to bed. I don't know if you found this, but I was kind of hammering water pretty much all day and right up to bed, and I was starting to wake up during the night needing to go to the toilet. So I've kind of canned drinking water about 2 hours before I go to bed.
Interesting.
I have heard that actually. I've heard lots of research on it, and then I'm like, but I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. Otherwise, the opposite happens. I wake up and I'm like, I need to just guzzle a glass of water.
Like, I have a glass there, but I find that especially now, I probably wake up consistently every day around between 3 and 4 in the morning
For a
to
piss.
pee. Even if, and I really try and like front load water. So I'll really try. I've done days where I'm like, I'll stop at like 3 p.m. Doesn't matter. And I'll go to bed and it's like, I'll pee twice before bed.
That's a
having
thing.
Front loaded.
That's the thing. I can't
Still.
remember what it is, but there's something, you need to look this up because there's something that is making you do that where you're not able to hold on for the whole night. Look it up. ChatGPT it.
Yeah.
Is it
I
a
can't-
disease?
I can't remember what it is. There's something wrong with you,
AIDS.
Jacob.
One way to find out.
No, but there was, I think it was actually like a Huberman episode where he just spoke about water and hydration, and it was going through all of that sort of stuff. Like,
Interesting.
if you wake up consistently through the night. I really actually prefer if it wakes me at like 1 or 2, because then you still got a good deep sleep left. Whereas I hate it when you're like, oh, I could go pee, and then you glance at the clock and it's like an hour till you're meant to get up. You're like, God damn it, if I walk there now, I'm gonna be awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's your cut off? When are you going to sleep?
I try to get into bed at 9:30 roughly. Again, I'm off work for these 2 weeks, and I have the joy of having that flexibility of not going to the class in the morning at 6:30.
Yeah.
So this morning I slept until about 7:30, 7:45.
So lazy.
Yeah, I know. But so beneficial.
It is.
I do that
so
almost
good.
every day.
Yeah, so
You're getting the taste of like an influencer life.
yeah,
This is why when we see
yeah.
all these athletes on Instagram, we're like, oh, that's how they do it. They don't have a full-time job.
This is what we really need. Like, we need like 4
Start
sets of
selling
TikTok
attention.
dances. You know, that's what's really going to impact your training, is doing that instead of work, and then just get paid. I always think that when I'm like, it'd be like Tuesday afternoon, I'll be like, I'll go down to the beach, and I can because I don't quite have a set job, but I see everyone else. I'm like, what do you all do? What do you all
100%,
do?
Yeah. Anytime you go to the beach, at any time during the
You'd
week.
be seeing this now, like having 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
You go middle of the day and there's tons of people out.
Like, what do they do?
Yeah.
I think it's
And
just
how do they afford to
social
live
media
here?
marketing, just from your phone, just from the beach.
It's so saturated, the market, though. I'm like, how are they making money from it?
Crazy. Funding athletes like you. That's what it is.
And then if it's like, if they live in like a Bondi as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Rent.
You're like, what?
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, that's insane. But it's interesting what you say about, having good habits and everything else. But I guess I'm the weird one that gets up every night. But what else do you find that, like, do you look at your resting heart rate often? What do you sit at usually?
When I'm in a green recovery, I sit at about 46 resting. So
Is that
it's-
your Whoop one? Like your wake up resting heart rate?
Yeah. So that's when I'm recovered in the green. So it's not super low. Like, I've seen some people have like 33, and like, it's crazy low.
My friend Drew sits at 36. And it's like, sometimes he'll post on his thing, like, he'll sit in an ice bath and he'll get it down to like low 30s. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
You're right.
That's like sending you a signal. I've seen like people get signals on their watch being like,
really?
you need to go to
Alerts.
hospital. Like, because your heart rate's so low.
Insane.
But my brother is 2 years older than me, doesn't do anything fitness related, and he's like very low 40s in the 30s. It's kind of like, but he's not fit.
Right.
So I'm like, is it dangerous for him? Like,
It's just probably just got a big heart.
It's interesting.
Literally though, I mean, it sounded like a joke, but like the size of your heart
Genuinely.
is going to impact your heart rate as well.
yeah.
It's interesting, you know, that between green recovery and when you're not recovered, that it makes that much difference.
Oh, big time.
Oh yeah, even if you have a few drinks. Oh my
Really?
God.
Tanks your HRV, tanks your resting heart rate.
Like my resting heart rate, to give you an example of numbers, on a green recovery would be in around whatever, 45, let's call it. If I've had a few drinks, my resting heart rate could be maybe 72.
Wow.
My HRV with a green recovery sits at about 115, 120.
Yeah.
With like a super low red recovery from like an alcohol induced red recovery, it'd be at like 20s.
Wow. That's insane.
And that's not what I find most interesting about Whoop, is that you don't tell it that you've drank.
No.
So this is literally just your heart metrics based on drinking. And it's not like it's trying to get you to live a more active and healthy lifestyle and not drink. Like, it has no game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't tell it, you don't input anything.
You tell it after. You
Yeah.
tell it in the
after,
morning.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you wake up, your resting heart rate's tanked, your HRV's in the toilet, and then you say, I had a drink last night. So then it tracks it for you.
That's insane. When I had like the 1 or 2 month trial with Whoop, and it would be like, I'd start to feel like a niggle in my throat, and it's like I'd check my Whoop and it'd be like, your skin temperature's elevated. Next day I'd be like coughing, I'd have like a cold, and I'm like, it's how it knows.
Picks it up,
And
yeah.
I'm like, that's insane. And it's like, I thought it was like, oh, maybe I've got it under the pillow at night or something while I'm charging, and I'd be like, oh, why is my skin temp elevated? And like it happened twice as well, because the first time I was like, nah, it's just like luck, and the second time it happened, it's like I started to get a bit ill, and it was like, skin temp's higher. And then
That's only early days. Like once it properly calibrates to you, it's crazy. I was on Whoop for also only 6 months, and then I got a MazeFit Helio strap, which were like Hyrox sponsors. The app's nowhere near as good, but like I still get the metrics, and now I've got a smartwatch and I don't want to double data, so now I'm just putting that on for sleep. I just scrolled back. My best was like 48 back in December, my resting heart rate. But yeah, it's a bit shit not having everything in one app.
Yeah. Well, I have the same with Whoop. And
You got the
I
double
actually
data.
I don't wear this. I only wear this for running
Yeah.
and for conditioning sessions, so I can see my heart rate and my pace for running. But yeah, this would be my kind of everyday.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the standard Whoop. Can't deviate. The only thing I've considered is maybe the Aura ring, because apparently the app is
rings.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't wear rings either, so that would be a new thing as
They're
well.
really thick as well. I just don't like how they look. It looks like a different ring. Like, it should look like a normal ring that a normal person would wear.
Yeah.
but
He's
it's like,
really trying to tell people he's married.
Yeah, that's a thick ring.
Yeah. Okay, getting back into like racing specifically.
Yep.
So you obviously won a lot of races. You've podiumed many a time. Quickly, before we get into like advice and everything else, what was it like racing with the elites? Because if anyone watching doesn't know, recorded Stephen multiple times when it was burpees, the row, then you weren't that fine behind Hunter in some of the runs. That was fucking awesome to watch, but I want to know what it was like on your end to actually be there.
Yeah, it was surreal. Like, it was really exciting. I knew that they were going to be racing, and I was hopeful that we would be in the first heat. I didn't know, because we hadn't raced together before, I didn't know what heat they were going to put us in, but when you're signing up, whether you're buying your tickets, when you're personalizing your tickets, you put in what your goal time is, which I feel like they need to update, because it's like sub 60 is the lowest you can go. But now the sport has advanced so much that it's like there's so many people in the sub 60 category in doubles. So it's like there's going to be way more than one wave now selecting sub 60. So they should divvy it down lower than that, I think. So we got the first wave, and when the start times came out, I was all over it, and I was looking up Hunter's name and Tim's name and Charlie Botterill's name, and all of the A-listers were in our heat, so I was like, this is gonna be really cool. And I'd like plan and I'd talk to Ash about like we need to get up the front like for all the content. But like Hyrox had the whole thing orchestrated that Joanna and Hunter were in their Puma robes and everybody was held back because they were walking in and they wanted to get the shot of them walking in by themselves, and then all the other like really big stars were let in like first. It ended up you couldn't really get up the front.
No.
So we were like maybe 3 back, 3 deep. So like Hunter, Joanna had a good race with Cole, Learn and Molly, and Cole and Molly ended up getting the world record and beating Hunter and Joanna by, don't know what it was, maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But we ended up having a really good race with Tim Wenisch and his girlfriend, I think she is. It was just surreal. Like, it was so good. And like, we were neck and neck, and his girlfriend's run pace was slower than what me and Ash could hold. So we were kind of catching them on the runs, but then they were kind of whooping us on the... Well, not whooping us, but he was obviously able to move through any of the stations quicker than I was. But it got to the changing point on how they bet us was we got to the row and he rode the full kilometre.
Yeah.
And he was like, when I got onto the row, I was ripping like a 137 and he was holding a 142, and I was kind of like, fuck, like I'm rowing faster than Tim.
Yeah.
But then the difference is that I get off then at say 300 meters, Ash jumps in, does 300 meters, and then I finish with 400. And then Tim is just 142 for the full kilometre. And then that gave his girlfriend such a significant rest, which Ash didn't get.
Yeah.
So that was where the tables kind of turned and we just couldn't catch them after that. But it was such a good race, and I've had really good engagement with him on Instagram afterwards. And like, he's commented on my posts, he's like reshared one of my reels, been chatting like once or twice in DMs. So I don't know if he would accept his slot for Worlds, but it'd be cool to run it back and race them again, because I actually think we'd get them. I actually, like, that was our first race together.
So close.
And they've raced multiple times together, and that was a PB for them. So I fancy us.
I also think, will it be this Hyrox that they will implement the, what do you call it, how they split it up? Because a big thing, as you've said, was the fact that Tim rode a kilometre, but they're obviously thinking of introducing it where you have to split it. Like, there has to be some level of splitting with each of the stations. I wonder whether they'll do that for Worlds this year of the Stockholm, or whether that's a kind of next season thing.
Yeah, I think it's a next season thing. That would just be for the elites.
Right, okay. So they wouldn't implement that. Okay, yeah.
It's too hard to police. So you need one-to-one judging for that.
Yeah.
So the founders are trying to come up, like, they obviously want mix to be in the elite as well, because it's another division and they want all the divisions to have an elite category. So they'll figure something out where the male counterpart can only do a certain amount of the station. I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest, and I don't know. I kind of debate what they should do, what they can do. Like, for the sleds, I see a very easy way of policing it from an elite standpoint when you have one-to-one judging, and that would be that the male and female separate and go to their respective pro weight sled, and you both have to do 2 lengths. That'd be an easy fix, and it'd be easy to police. The ergs, not so much. I don't know how you mandate without dictating what the strategy is of the race.
Yeah. Because
you want to be careful about that as well. So, like, you could apply a percentage. Are they going to go 50-50? Maybe. They could. You could row or ski only 50%, but then if you're like swapping, so me and Ash, and like my strategy with those is doing 125 meters.
Yeah.
So like, if that's hard to police if you're only doing 125 meters. But then the optimal strategy, and like, they shouldn't go down the line of you have to do 500 meters. You have to do 500 meters.
Yeah.
You can choose who goes first, who goes second, like that. I wouldn't be in favor of that.
I think it's more got to move in favor of just both partners have to touch the station. I think they should start there because, as you said, like Tim doing the entire row, it was the same as it was only when I was watching it back for Hunter on the sleds that I realized that he did the entire sled push. Like, he did the entire, because obviously it's way lighter than his weight. I didn't realize. I was like, oh, when does Joanna take over? And then I was just like, she doesn't. He just did every single
So
length.
she didn't touch the push at all?
Nope. They split up the pulls, but I'll check again, but like 95% sure he just did the entire sled push because it's so much quicker for him, and then it's like they can just sprint, and I'm like,
yeah, but then like if you're gonna implement a rule that like the partner has to touch, it's like what's the line? Like does the male do the entire, like does a hunter do the entire sled push and then leave the sled halfway over the line, and then Joanna just have to push it like that, and then
or
they
she has to
run?
do one length, one push.
But then
Could you police that? Oh.
But then
yeah,
you're
because then it
dictating the
dictates
strategy.
half. Yeah,
Because then she has to do a full length unbroken. Whereas if you're doing, say, me and Ash I did 3/4 length, she did a quarter.
Oh, got it.
So then if you're doing a quarter, it's harder to police a full length.
I think even starting with they have to touch the station will remove because it's like it's the changeover as well, because you forget it's not
Adds
just
time.
is the fact that
That's what got you on the road, right?
swapping
even just
someone else
changing
in.
And the rest. The recovery
for her, yeah.
Tim's girlfriend.
Yeah, when you're
Or
swapping in
wife
and
or
out of
whatever.
the straps, it's also that adds the time.
Yeah.
So even if they want to row just 50 meters, that's up to them. But I do think otherwise it does just become it's a male race with the women just running.
Yeah, so I would argue that if you're doing a 50-meter row, it's still the male person doing the station. So and I think the founders are in alignment that that's not hybrid racing to them. Like we're not making this an elite category for you to find a fast female that can just run.
Yeah.
We want this to be split and it be like who's the fastest mixed doubles partnership at Hyrox, not at 8x1k.
Yeah.
For the female, and then stations plus 8x1k for the male. But like if you look at like myself and Ash, like our strategy and our optimal race, it would never be me pushing 50 meters of the sled push.
No.
Like it's faster for us to split it up, but then you get to like the really top end elites, and the difference between the males and females is huge.
When everyone says sub 60 is the goal, is that for pro? Or do they just mean open?
Depends on who says it.
Yeah, because I always think like
If I said it, you know I'm lying.
because I always think what category it's put in, because people say like, you know how there's the not arbitrary goals, but the kind of sub 20 like 5k, then they're like 100-kilo bench, and then like the sub 3 marathon, and then sub 60 Hyrox is put in with it. And I assume most of the time it's going to be open, because sub 60 pros, like that's a different level, I feel like.
Sub 60 pro solo is elite. Like it's very hard. But again, what you're saying, it's all just clickbait social media. Like some people are saying sub 60 Hyrox, talking about doubles. Some people mix doubles. Some people open men's doubles. Like, yes, it's a great time, but it's not comparable to a pro solo sub 60. Like, I've had this conversation with a few people as well in terms of the flags that you get. And like, it's like all flags aren't created equal as well. Like a relay, for example. It looks like the same flag coming first in a relay as winning overall pro solo. But it's like, there's far different levels to what you're looking at there.
Two very different things.
Yeah. So yeah, it depends on who's saying it. It's just a social media thing. And it's a nice round number. So yeah, it's the only accolade I think, or feather to my bow that I've left to kind of stamp. So I'm in two minds. I'm doing 3 races at Worlds. Part of me is, do I try and pop the hour at Worlds in solo, or do I hold back run my solo at like 70% and save myself and give myself more energy and a chance at doubles, because I'd be more competitive in both of my doubles categories than my solo. I won't be competitive at all. Even if I run a 59, I might be lucky to come top like 40, let's say. I reckon there'd be loads of people running under an hour at Worlds. But I think that, like, me and Ash ran a 54.5 minute mixed, and if you look at the podium for World Championships, like, there was 53s getting podium. And I think maybe even 54s. So obviously the standard is going to improve year on year. I'm not saying that that's going to podium this year. It's going to be faster than that. But in terms of where we're at compared to what won and what podium last year, we're there or thereabouts, especially if we race again in Brisbane and get a couple more races under our belt.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. How do you... I know everyone will have their own race strategy, but say if, treat it for my example, when this will be the first doubles I've done, and then I'm also doing a mixed doubles. How would you say to split stations? Like, what is the mindset going in of who starts, who finishes? Do you like rotate? How would you plan for that?
It's a hard question to answer because it's based on the athletes and the ability of both athletes. So, I would suggest that the stronger runner finishes the station. If you're extremely superior than your doubles partner, I would suggest starting and finishing the station. Like ski, for example, I've found 1-2-5s is the optimal way to split that, because it's just not enough time on the ski to accumulate much fatigue, and it's kind of just in and out efforts. So you're kind of balancing out. It's very start of the race. You're balancing out the fatigue of both athletes going into the second run. Sled push is usually just half lengths. I haven't found any more optimal way. Mixed doubles, we went 3/4 for the first one. 3/4 me, quarter her for the second one. And for the third one, I went half, she went half. And then for the fourth one, I did the whole length, just to give her a bit of a rest and a breather going into the run. So it's different for mix and men's. Burpees is a little bit harder because it's usually based on number of reps, but you can't quite control who finishes. So it's kind of based on a little bit of communication. So if you think about, if I do 5, you do 5, I do 5, you do 5, we don't really have 100% certainty on where we're going to land when whoever completes their 5. So it could be a case where someone starts and finishes burpees. Now you can manipulate that by communicating throughout the burpee section. Row, you want to limit the transitions. I would say that you want to do maximum of 2 transitions. Like, a lot of people do 250s, and I think you're just losing so much time by adding an extra transition. Like, it takes maybe 6 seconds, and by the time you start pulling and getting up to your speed, you're talking another couple of seconds there. So I would limit it to 3, or to 2 even. And if it's male doubles, if you're equal, like 250, 500, 250. Mixed doubles, you're probably looking at a 3-4-3 split, again, depending on strengths and weaknesses. Farmers carry, if you're equal, 100, it's not really that much of a station. It's not too taxing. It's quite easy to get it done. You just have to bear in mind that when you're doing mixed, it's pro weights for the female and it's open weights for the male. So you can obviously carry it usually a lot more and longer than your female counterpart. That's not always the case. Lunges, all about transitions. We did kind of 15 meters or 15 lunges, like usually a step is a meter, maybe slightly longer. And then just transitions, make sure you're, like, usually put your head into the back of the person actually doing the lunge and then whip the sandbag off them. I see people going back to back. I think it's crazy. Like, it's just so slow. So the person taking over and coming in from behind is better to whip the sandbag off the person in front. And then wall balls, I think the best strategy is, like I've seen people do 20 reps, 25 reps, next person does 25 reps and so on. I think it's better just to max out. You don't want to get to a point where you're going too slow, because I've seen even in the videos that you took when we had that really close race in Melbourne, like when you start slowing down, you give your competitors a chance to have a higher cadence and move through it faster, even if they switch. So you don't want to go too slow. So you want to not max out, but get near your max and then transition. Usually pro doubles, you get it done in 3 sets. Open doubles 2 sets. Mixed doubles 2 sets, maybe 3 sets. I think me and Ash did 3 sets. But we could definitely do that in 2 sets. Like you saw what happened to Counter. I did 18 reps and I was still on 0, so I had no idea what I was on for the whole thing.
That definitely throws you off. It was you and the guys next to you that it was like...
Yeah.
I did love all the Instagram comments being like, I finished on 82.
Yeah. Good for engagement.
Yeah, I'm saying good bit of rage bait there. People love that.
But yeah, does that answer your question? Or?
Yeah, completely. So it kind of depends on the athletes, but I think in a lot of the mixed doubles, effectively, because the guys, in most cases, is going to be stronger and faster, start and finish and do kind of 2/3 to what the female's doing.
Yeah.
It's also interesting, because Jake and I'll be doing doubles. So I think for our race, it's going to be a lot of, I think he's probably stronger, and where I currently am, maybe I'm a faster runner, so that would be interesting, but he'll be listening, so he's super fast, I promise. But no, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, and so you need to be careful about, because he's stronger, you still need to be careful about managing his load with the likes of sled push. Just because he's stronger doesn't mean that he does more sled push than you, because ultimately the time is made up on the run.
Yeah.
So by him doing more sled push, yes, your sled push time might be a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be as quick as you splitting that in half, for example, or maybe if you're significantly faster at running. And that's where, like, a doubles partnership, you need to be honest with each other, and egos need to be left aside. Like, if someone is significantly faster than the other, like, it's beneficial with them finishing a full length. Maybe in pro doubles, the sled weighs a little bit much to end up doing that.
Yeah.
But in open doubles, you could do that no problem. And it just makes you faster on that next run. So just prioritize your run pace. So think about your race and strategize your race to run as fast as possible on the runs, rather than trying to hammer the stations and make up time in the stations, because you'll make up more time in the runs.
How much do you think gear, and when I say gear, I'm referring to shoes and not peptides. But, how much do you think?
We're going to go very controversial there.
I mean, for how much it's spoken about. No, but how much do you think, like, shoes and everything matters? I mean, I know you're pretty much deviates all the way, aren't you?
Yeah. Still waiting on Puma to hit me up. They actually gave me a follow there the other day.
Did they?
A couple of weeks ago, yeah. I was like, fuck, I've made it.
That's what it needs to be. Get you out of a job, get you sponsored.
Yep.
It's interesting because that was my most viewed video, was the one
Adidas.
of the one of me literally just going, I literally posted a video, it's like 7 seconds long, of Tim and his shoes and how much they like squish down, how much they compress, because he won the elite solo.
Right.
His shoes compress so much. They're almost more similar to a marathon shoe. And I just had a super slow-mo and I put the caption of, should Puma be worried? Question mark. Honestly, the rage bait on it. So many people being like, I loved all of the people, like, starting with Hunter being like, Hunter would have won if it wasn't for his penalty. And you just like, you just don't know that.
I haven't actually seen the comments. I saw
so many of them, but like,
it's over 100k views. So
yeah, 220. Just so many people being like, Hunter would have won if it wasn't for the penalty. No, Puma shouldn't be worried. And then other people were like, these are the best shoes.
Like, that's my number one pet peeve. Is this would have happened if this happened.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
We have this saying in Ireland, and I use it all the time. And it's, if my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle. Like
Yeah.
all this shit about like, let's say you run an extra lap and it's like you
Yeah.
get this time, but I would have got this time and we would have came in this place.
Mm.
Hunter would have won if he didn't get the penalty, but he got the penalty, so he
Yeah.
didn't win. Like I don't understand the purpose that it serves by going down that route. It's like,
Yeah. It's just
suck it
silly.
up.
Yeah.
Race a cleaner race next time.
Yeah.
Learn from
Do
it.
better.
Yeah.
Don't step on the line.
Yeah.
Ash.
Jeez.
Are you fueling during the race?
I personally don't.
Shade.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like
Okay.
a lot of people, I'm probably one of few that don't.
Mm.
Like I think the vast majority of people do. I just feel like I don't need it. And I feel like the risk reward is quite high. Especially for me, like I've had a lot of gut issues and like bowel movements on runs and stuff, and it's not good. Like for a period of a couple of months there, I couldn't go for a run without needing to go to the toilet.
Wow.
And I
Because those
think,
overnight oats.
I think it was my electrolytes.
Oh, really?
Right.
So
okay.
I cut them out of my diet, and I've been better since. In saying that, I just smashed carbohydrate and electrolyte blend coming here.
How do you feel now?
I feel okay now, but it seems to be just related to running as a single discipline. It never bothered me for like Hyrox sessions, or if there was some mix up between running and station work. So yeah, I think the risk reward is quite high in that if it potentially gave me any gut trouble or stitch issues, your whole race would be fucked.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel like it's gonna give me a huge amount of lift. Like I never feel like I die in a race.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'd love it. Pick me up now. I never
Yeah.
feel like it gets to that stage because it's a short enough race. And yeah, I don't know. There's benefits to it. I don't think there's any benefit to where in the race most people take it, which is after the row.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it takes 30 minutes to kick in.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're finished the race by then. So why do you take it? It's
Yeah.
placebo.
Yeah. I
Maybe
agree.
if that works for you, go for it. But
I think
I don't know,
What are they
feel-
actually having?
carb and caffeine is usually the.
usually, yeah. Usually
It's
carb
like-
gels,
Do you
maybe
take
caffeine.
anything beforehand? You take anything like
Gel?
or carb drink?
No.
Oh,
I'd have like maybe a couple of jelly snakes during my warm up, maybe.
Mm.
Depending on how I'm feeling, but otherwise just sip on water right up until the Red Bull tent. And then obviously I feel properly that
Yeah.
day and in the days building up. I don't believe in this whole massive carb loading
loading.
crack.
Yeah.
See it all over Instagram. It's like you're not doing an you're not running for 100 kilometers. Like,
It's a six,
Yeah.
relax.
you know, it's between 60 and maybe 90-minute race max. And I
Yeah.
think, these sort of 4-day carb loads, as if it's going to be a marathon, I think is a little bit
Ridiculous.
intense.
It's over the top. And again, you're like, is it for content purposes, or are you actually trying to deliver some value here, or do you just know nothing? Combination of all three, maybe.
Yeah, jumping on the bandwagon
Yeah.
and then shouting it,
Yeah.
shouting about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would increase the carbs that I would have in a regular dinner the night before. I'd purely eat carbs, breakfast, lunch. Because I race pro mostly now, I usually race in the evenings. So that's meant more fueling for my race, whereas before it was kind of afternoon races or morning races, which were lovely. I'd rather that. Because you just have to worry about your breakfast and then maybe top up your carbs and glycogen. But yeah, it's one of those things that people really overthink, and they change everything and they try new things, and if realistically that they would feel better if they just didn't increase any carbohydrates and just ate their regular diet. So yeah.
You analyze your races using the Rox Fit app, don't you?
Yeah.
How do you analyze without being overcritical? Because I know a lot of people kind of delve in and kind of really pick it apart. But how do you kind of take what you need to out of it, and how do you put that back into your training?
So it depends on how your race goes, right? Like, there's obviously, like, you could make mistakes in some of your races and you'll see that reflected in the data. More often than not, I'm really looking at my drift time, which is like the difference between my fastest and slowest run.
Right.
You have to pay attention to run 1 is usually different. Run 8 is usually different. So you kind of discard them straight away and look at runs 2 to 7 and just see how much drift. And with the bigger drift ones, what was the station before? Maybe I need to hammer rowing, running. So like you can take little learnings like that. Now it's again, you base your own kind of RPE and feel of the race. You know yourself best. Like, it's not necessarily that your run after, say, the row, for example, is because you're shit at rowing. It could be a build-up of fatigue from all of the other stations, and it could be a result of you starting out too fast. So there's different narratives in the data that you can interpret about yourself that someone else that is looking at your data mightn't be able to. But ultimately, for myself, particularly for my pro solo races, I ran a 108 at World Championships, and that was a horrendous race for me. Like, it was way slower than where I thought I was and where I imagined finishing. And there was multiple reasons for that. Starting out too quick, getting caught up in just the excitement of it all, lack of experience. Sleds, obviously there's a lot of talk about that. They were pretty heavy. So just, it didn't go my way. So when I'm looking at data with that, every single station is inflated. It's not a clean data set for me to look at. So fast forward 2 weeks, I hit Sydney Pro Solo, get a 103, shave 5 minutes off my time. Did I get 5 minutes quicker? No. Did I get 5 minutes fitter? No. I just strategized better, ran a better race, and ran within myself. And then Singapore, most recently, I ran a 101, and I feel like that's the first race where I now have a clean data set to look at and review and figure out what I need to improve on. And a combination of RoxFit plus, like, the Hyrox website itself will tell you the ranking of each station. So where you were compared to everybody who raced. So again, I disregard the ski. I disregard the sled push.
Why?
Because people just start too quickly.
Right. Okay,
and it's like they blow the ski out of it. They blow the sled push out of it. And it's like, well, I ran a 101, so I'm not going to compare myself to someone who got a faster ski and sled push time and bet me in the rankings there, but ran at 115.
Yeah.
So I don't exclude it completely. I take it with a pinch of salt, though, that it's going to be more inflated than usual. But I do look at my times now and see if I'm improving on the station versus my last race on that station. So yeah, just figuring out a plan based on that, looking at total run time plus rocks time. Like, you see a lot on Instagram about people's run time being 3:35, 3:25 in their doubles, and it's like, really? And then you look at the data and they're just looking at their run time where the run laps are like, sometimes they're 850 meters.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, if you were holding that pace, if you're including the rock zone time, you'd be in the elites. So again, it's clickbait. It looks good on Instagram. It's showy, but I think you need to be honest with yourself when you're reviewing your own data. So yeah, just picking out parts, seeing where I can improve, shave off time. There's low hanging fruit with my race from Singapore. Like, lunges was a big focus for Singapore because I was losing like 60 seconds to people, like peers around me on one station, which is crazy.
Yeah, huge.
So I knocked a huge amount of time off that, but then ended up losing it on wall balls. So I'm still yet to piece the end of the race together. So that's my big focus.
And that's all experience as well, right? The more you do the race, because you can't simulate the adrenaline and excitement that you're going to get.
100%.
And that's why so many people start too fast. But that's like, once you get races under your belt, once you get experience.
What advice would you give to someone going into their first Hyrox?
Honestly, like, it sounds cringy or corny or basic, or like, if I got this advice, I'd kind of disregard it, but like, genuinely just enjoy it. Like, forget about times, forget about sub 60. It's like, you've paid to be there. Most likely you're racing with someone. I'd recommend maybe doing a doubles to start off with and just dabble in it. It's way more fun. Even like the level I race at and how competitive I am, I much prefer the doubles format to solo. It's just better being with someone and being in the hurt locker with someone and working for someone and like not wanting to let them down rather than just being in the depths of it yourself. Although I have since Sydney, when I got the massive PB from Worlds, I've turned a corner with solo, and I really love solo now. And I love the fact that it's kind of just a representation of your work alone and your improvements and your dedication and commitment, and it's not like an aggregate of you and someone else. So I love all the categories, but yeah, just enjoy it. Like, people put too much pressure on themselves. Like my girlfriend, for example, she's ran 3 races now, 2 female doubles, and then did a mixed doubles with me. And for her, like, I think they shaved like 5 minutes off in a year their female doubles races. But like, it's not worth her racing because she just gets so worked up and so anxious, and like, it's like they're not even like competitive or like trying to get a podium or trying to get a world champ spot. I'd understand the anxiety and the pressure that you put yourself on for that, but it's like, what
do you gain out of being a few minutes quicker?
What's there to lose if you're not quicker?
Yeah,
it's just
especially
arbitrary.
If we're talking advice for your first one.
Yeah,
it really, and we literally just touched on that. Really, you're not going to get any sort of data out of it or anything that's useful anyway, because you're probably going to make mistakes and mess up and go too fast and try and keep up with people that you shouldn't be trying to keep up with. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So no point.
Yeah, and then probably the biggest strategic tip is work your way into the race, which is, again, easier said than done, but a practical tip for people is to start at the back of the Red Bull tent for your first race. I know people are mad to like get up the front and like lead from the front, and I guess it depends on your fitness levels as well and like how confident you are, but I would recommend starting at the back and just running your own race, forgetting about everybody in your heat, because really they actually don't matter, because you have no idea who you're racing against and you've no idea how much experience someone beside you has. So it's irrelevant. Just run your own race and enjoy it. And I guarantee if you enjoy it, you'll run a faster race than if you don't enjoy it. So,
and you'll want to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than belting yourself.
It is addictive. So that's a warning.
Despite the outrageous costs, it is.
If you do one, you'll be hooked.
Hey, any hobby. We just said that.
Does the timer start only when you cross the start line with a chip?
Yeah, exactly. So if you start at the back, you could wait there. In theory, for 60 seconds.
Interesting.
It makes no difference to your time. It just makes a difference to who you're trying to keep up with.
Yeah, exactly.
So interesting. That is pretty good. Now you've brought a little something with you today. Would you like to tell us about it and why it means so much to you?
Yeah, and you haven't seen this, right?
I haven't seen it at all. I've had my eyes closed.
So I feel like I didn't have many options in the house of something to bring with me. I was nearly going to go down to the gym and get a wall ball.
Wow.
This is my very first race patch.
Wow.
So I ran a open doubles with my mate Sean, who I was telling you about before we started, that moved home. And yeah, I reckon that's still my, like, apart from World Championships, I'd say it's still my most significant race experience where I was like, fuck, this is it. Like, I've found my purpose. Like, honestly, for the first, I know I sound like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, but like, for the first time in my life, I've like, I love this shit. Like, and just like, we didn't even know we podiumed. We ended up coming second in our age category, very first race. And being on the podium was just a new level of elation. But even finishing and crossing over the finish line, it was just like, oh my God, we have worked so hard for this, put in so many hours, dedicated our life to it. And sub 60 was the goal, and we hit a 57. So like, went significantly below it. And we weren't, that was like a data driven expectation. It wasn't plucking sub 60 out of nowhere. Like, we ran the numbers based on paces we were hitting in the gym, and it was kind of an educated guess of where we'd land. We didn't think we'd get into the 57, so we overachieved as far as we were concerned. And then just refreshing the results board and being like, fuck, we actually came second. Like, we're on the podium here with a flag in a very new sport, first race. And we ended up missing out on World Championship qualification by 20 seconds based on the lads that bet us. And we went home and we were looking them up on Instagram, and they had just competed at World Championships in Nice, like maybe 4 weeks prior. And we're like, oh, fucking, why are they competing in the open category? They should be doing pro. Now, it turns out that they both did pro solo the day before and then did open doubles and still bet us by 20 seconds. So yeah, I reckon it's close to home in terms of just introducing me to the sport, and like, I was honestly just hooked after that race.
What year was that? How long ago was that?
That was not last June, the June before. So June 24.
Wow, I thought it would have been earlier than that. That's crazy though.
Yeah, so my very first race was 18 months ago.
And since then, you've hit many a podium, trampled many a person in a way.
Wow. That's the lid to the Kool-Aid bottle right there.
I've actually got that on video. I didn't put it up, but Hunter literally just like shoulder charges this girl out the way who was in the fast lane.
Yeah. Seen it,
I need to like slow it down. I kind of cut it so it's at the edge, but there's one point and you probably see it and she just gets moved.
Yeah, I think it was in the first run because I was waiting for myself to run by then.
Yeah.
But fucking 2 minutes later. But yeah, I seen it. It's so funny. But she shouldn't have been in the fast lane.
No, she shouldn't. Like, yeah, crazy.
In that heat too.
Well, that's the thing. They'll mix. Like, they'll still have people.
Oh yeah,
that's one thing.
There was like female doubles out on the track when we were let loose. So
imagine the elites were like, honestly, it's insane seeing like these people just like, you know, kind of like hobbling past, and then the elites get unleashed, and it's just crazy. That's something that I hope they put more of in the race, is doing it so that the podiums aren't as late.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see like the F1-esque vibe of when they'll finish and everyone's there, and it's like everyone's just moves into like the celebratory bit. There's like no real like no huge time delay. Whereas obviously for yours, it was like you raced, you finished, and then 4 hours later, it's like they then put you up on the podium.
Yeah, but it's just like, what's the solution? The scale is too big.
But do you put all the fastest races last, like in terms of that order?
That ended up happening. So the top, I'm gonna say like 15 mixed were all on Sunday, and the vast majority of them were in my heat. But it's just like, people race Friday, people race Saturday, and then people race Sunday. So people race Friday had to wait till Sunday night. Now, nobody that raced Friday got podium.
Yeah.
But still, in theory, you'd have to wait a couple of days. But funny story, my flight was booked to fly home 9 p.m. on Sunday. So when I saw Hunter, Joanna, all these people were in our age category, and Tim and Tim's girlfriend, Charlie Botterill, Charlie Botterill's girlfriend, I was like, the ceremony is on at 8. I'm not going to be around for that if I fly at 9. Would I be more annoyed with myself if I had to spend an extra night in Melbourne and we didn't podium? Or I left my flight as is, flew home at 9 p.m. and missed the opportunity to be on the podium with Hunter, Joanna, and Tim, or Charlie. I was like, fuck it, I'm changing it till Monday. So I changed it, and that actually came true. Now, the disappointing thing was that they didn't show up for the podium, so it was just me and Ash. But still, we had pictures and content with their names in the background, which is still pretty cool. And
so
then
good.
I was like, fuck it, we'll go up at number 1.
Yeah, I remember shouting along. So I was like, go!
I said it to Ash, and Ash was like, no. And then someone, maybe it was you,
I
you were
remember
like, get up.
I shouted so much in the crowd. I was like, get up.
Yeah.
The crowd went wild.
Yeah, then we went up and everyone was like, yeah.
So
it was
good.
brilliant. It was so worth it, the extra couple of £100 to change the flight and get an extra night stay. I actually got the extra night stay with Marriott points. Good. Yeah. So didn't cost me much.
They're annoyed that they weren't there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
They could have been up there with you guys.
Yeah.
You'll be taking their place soon.
I'd say they were absolutely hammered by that time.
Yeah, I can't lie.
Well, Joanna doesn't drink, but Hunter likes a few pints apparently.
Yeah, I can imagine. He does give that kind of vibe. Question for our next guest. I can't give you any inkling of who it is because it remains a mystery to me as well. But they will be an athlete.
What was their question for me?
So our previous guest, Mr. Dom Shepherd, would like to know from you what has been your best race to date and what has been your worst race to date, not including injury. So that you finished the full race, but for some other reason, it didn't go as planned.
That's tough to pick one. My worst sticks out the most as World Championships solo. My family were there and the occasion was so big. Sean Noble was in my heat and it was just this big massive event that I built up in my head. And I was always the first to say and advise people don't go out too hot, and we've talked about it today. And I got caught up in just not running my race. Like I was so focused actually on where Sean Noble was for the first few runs, for the first few laps of the first run, that I was not even checking in on myself. I was calculating, should I be this close to Sean Noble? I should be further away. Maybe he's taken this run really slow. Maybe this is the pace. So I was like debating all that in my head rather than just focusing on my own metrics, my own heart rate, my own pace, my own race. So it just bit me. Ended up like playing mind games with myself with the guy next to me on the sled push, and the sled push was really, really heavy. So that was my time to pause, relax. We'll just take a bit more time here. We'll add 30 seconds onto my predicted sled push time, and we'll just recover after that and race as normal. But now I got sucked into the atmosphere and the build up and the race and stuff, and I was almost racing the person next to me on sled push, which is something that you should never do. And then my run after that sucked. Sled pull, I found very heavy. And then it's funny, my brother was there, and like none of my family are into fitness at all. But like from my content and stuff, my brother was telling my mum and dad that, because obviously I looked very, very fatigued. And my brother was like, nah, don't worry about it. Burpees is where he comes into his own. And I got to the burpee station and I just had no give. I was just like going through the motions, and I was like burpees would be one of my strong suits across the entire race. And I was just like, this is how burpees feel for everyone else. Like it was like a real reality check. And my brother just turned to my parents and he was like, never mind, he's fucked. So yeah, that was like I started even predicting my time when I was running into lunges. I was like, I'll give myself like 4 minutes on lunges, maybe a 4-minute run, maybe 4 or 5 minutes on the wall balls. And I was like, this is actually going to be embarrassing this time. So I ended up crossing the line 108, and I was tears in my eyes, like everything. It was like, because you put a lot into it, right? You dedicate your entire life to it. You put a lot of finances into it, a lot of money into it. But at the same time, it was fucking brilliant. Like, it was such a good learning, such a good experience. And it's just like, I know that that's not going to happen to me now in Stockholm, because I have the experience of doing it. I have the experience of representing my country and being on a big stage like World Championships, and my family being there. It's no longer the first, you know, so it's all a massive learning. And then I put things right 3 weeks later in Sydney and knocked 5 minutes off that time, and proved to myself, I didn't really give a shit about anybody else, but proved to myself that I'm better than a 108 solo. So that was my worst race, but probably had the biggest learnings from it. My best race, I'm probably going to do a best event, which was Brisbane last year. And I put so much emphasis, and again, I wouldn't recommend doing it, but I put so much emphasis on doing sub 1 hour in open solo. And I wanted to tick that box before I went and competed at pro. And I put it out there. I told so many people that like the pressure was building to go and fucking just get this done now and just shut up talking about it. And now, like, because I've matured in the sport and matured on like socials and stuff, I'm like, it kind of gives me the ick when people put these things out there. It's just like, just don't talk about it. Just do it. Just work in silence and do it. But it's all part of the social media game. I get it. So I hit 59 minutes, 14 seconds in my race. And I remember just looking up at the time, and it felt like really long when I went over the finish line. It felt like, because it came up like a new finisher and it wiped the entire scoreboard. So I had to wait for a couple of seconds, and it was like a really long couple of seconds because I didn't know what time I was in at. And it gave me the result, and I was like, I just like dropped to the stage. I was like, fucking such a good feeling. And then we followed that up like 12 hours later. I ran open doubles with Elliot. Elliot done pro solo that evening. So he raced like maybe 10 hours before our doubles race, like the night before. So I came in my open solo, I came first out of 1,300 athletes overall. So a huge amount of people competed, and just to have like one of 1,300 was just class. And then we did open doubles. Me and Elliot came first out of like 780 athletes. So like a double whammy in the same weekend, and I was just like, this is going well. So yeah, it was reassuring that like the hard work was paying off and the commitment was paying off. And to those around me as well, to my girlfriend, like, it's great her seeing this pay off and seeing it working and seeing the drive I have for it and how motivated I am by it, and that all the sacrifices are worth it, because like it gets heavy as well on the mental side of things. Like, it's not that fun. Like, it's not that glamorous, your day-to-day life. Like, you're trying to control as much as you can control, and a lot of that is nutrition, and it's like, it's boring, it's repetitive, and there's not so many glamorous date nights during the week, for example, or like doing all these other things where you're like just tempted by stuff that's just not gonna improve you as an athlete. A lot of going to events and not drinking and being like a buzzkill or shy crack or whatever you want to be labeled. So it's not always easy. So it's nice when the fruits of your labor pays off. But yeah, good question.
You came in with a, just to be clear, was it 59.47?
For my open solo? No, it was 59.14, I think.
59.14. It's fast. Left
Yeah,
no doubt. Can't be coming in, 1 or 2 seconds now.
Yeah.
Very good crack.
Yeah.
Ideal. Well, Stephen, thank you very much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure. A lot of good advice in there, a lot of good advice. I need to watch this back and actually make a lot of notes, because I'm like, oh, I need to start working on this. So hopefully other people find it useful, but even to get a little delve into your life and the kind of discipline that you have for the training. I think, a lot of people see it as they'll just be like, oh, a couple sessions a week, but you're, absolutely smashing workouts every day. And it's just another day for you of just 2 sessions here, there, controlling everything. I think it's nice to see the separation of, what's achievable with that much work, but to get to that level, there is that level of work. Do you know what I mean? And it's a testament to all of those race times that you've got is a result of the work that you're putting in daily. So,
and it's measured.
Yep. That's what's so addictive about it, is that you get a
Stats.
data set
Yeah.
after each race, and it's like, fuck, yeah, paid off. But yeah, it doesn't get handed to you. It doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of sacrifice behind the scenes, and yeah, it's not easy. It might come off as glamorous, the podium videos and reels and shit that you see on Instagram, but yeah, it's a lot of dedication and sacrifice, and yeah, you have to say no to a lot of things and be that boring person. But yeah, it's worth it for me, at least.
So, Mr. Carter, what is your question that you'd like to belay to our next guest?
How do you spend time or focus on being present with relationships, friendships that are outside of your chosen venture? So if they're an athlete, their specific sport, whether there's something else, whatever they dedicate their life and craft to, I'd be interested in hearing how they balance being so all in on their craft, but then taking themselves out of that craft and giving time to your loved ones and those that are closest to you, and giving them your full energy and attention. Because that's something that I've struggled with in the past. I think I'm in a better place with it now. But it's become at times all consuming for me, and I've struggled to kind of be present, even on the couch and watching TV or having a conversation. My mind would be just elsewhere, thinking about what training session I have to do tomorrow, or my next race, or strategy. Or so yeah, I'd be interested in hearing how they balance being all in and then being present with those around them.